For your last lesson of Unit 9, we have scientific notation. So scientific notation is a number written as the product of two factors in the form A times 10 to the power of n, where A can be greater than or equal to 1, and A must be less than 10. So A can be greater than or equal to 1, but it has to be less than 10. And N is an integer, meaning it can be positive or negative, but it's a whole number. And it can be any number. So first we're going to start with expressing in scientific notation. Express each of the following numbers in scientific notation. Number 1, 250. Okay. Excuse me. So 250. So the first thing you want to think about is that the first number in scientific notation has to be greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. So obviously 250 is greater than or equal to 10. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the number, and I'm going to rewrite it over here. You're going to think about where the decimal is in this number. So if there's no decimal, the decimal is always at the very end of the number. And we want to move that decimal so that the number is less than 10, but greater than 1. So if I move it once, it would be 25.0, still too big. Move it twice, then I get 2.5, which is greater than 1, but less than 10. So I'm going to rewrite it as 2.5, and I don't need to put the 0 on the back side. And I'm going to multiply by 10, and the exponent is how many times I moved my decimal. So I moved it twice, so I'm going to multiply it by 10 to the second. So 250 written in scientific notation is 2.5 times 10 to the second. Let's try the next one. 3,431. So again, we want to think about it as where is my decimal? Okay, it's at the end. So I need to move it so that there is a number greater than 1, but less than 10. So if I move it once, 343.1, not good. Twice, 34.31, nope. 3 times, and that is going to give me 3.431, which is greater than 1, but less than 10, times 10, and how many times did I move it? 3 times. Hmm. 502,430. Again, without seeing a decimal, we take it from the back and we move it as many times as it takes to get a number greater than 1 but less than 10. So in this case, we have 5.0243, and I don't need to put the 0 at the end, times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I moved it 5 times. Okay. Now the reason why you don't need to put the 0 at the end is because when we go from scientific back to standard, we'll talk about that if there's any blank places, you always just put a 0 with whatever's left over. Okay. So as long as there's a 0 in between numbers, you want to put that 0. But if there's extra zeros at the end, we don't have to write that in our number. Okay. In this one, we didn't have any zeros. Okay. So you're going to try number 4. Excuse me. 6,743,000. Okay. So write this one in scientific notation.